for thought. What's up, my party peoples? Welcome to the Blue Fox Cosplay Podcast. I'm coming at you on this wonderful April 26th at 10:17 a.m. Not that any of that matters. But anyways, popping off, I am actually working from home today. That's been a story in itself. It's just been a little crazy here lately, but that's quite all right. I've already locked myself out of the account that I'm supposed to be in. But yeah, so a few things been going on lately with Blue Fox Cosplay. I got some new costumes coming in the mail pretty soon, so I'm going to be doing some more of my crazy little skits that I normally do. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I did want to go over very quick. You can catch more exclusive content with pictures, videos, and additional podcasts on my Patreon. You can find the link at www.monicahealingarts.com. That domain will actually be changing pretty soon here in a couple months. Actually, in about a month and a half, actually. I'm going to be changing that on June 6th of this year, 2022, to bluefoxcosplay.com just because it's easier to find. There's actually a story behind that. The reason why I'm changing that from monicahealingarts.com to bluefoxcosplay.com, obviously I'm going by Blue Fox Cosplay. I started out with monicahealingarts.com, but the self-development aspect of it wasn't catching people's attention enough, so I kind of have to disguise some of the inner work teachings that I do in the form of cosplay, just so people don't get bored, because as soon as you say self-development, people act like they ain't toxic. Y'all toxic, I'm toxic. No, I'm just messing. But really though, that will be changing on June 6th, so I plan on taking a little different route with my content. I try to be as entertaining as possible. If there is something specific you guys have as an idea that you would like to see, please let me know either in a comment on my social media platforms, or you can shoot me an email at bluefoxcosplay333@gmail.com. Either one of those ways will work. So I'm also still crafting per usual, doing my artsy fartsy little thing. So the website, currently monicahealingarts.com, there is a section on there that has some of my art, not all of it, but it does have some of it. But what I plan on doing is I think what I'm going to do is just update the page as I go with my creations and put those on there, so keep a lookout for those. I'm going to try to keep that up to date. So today's topics, our first one is going to be on one of the most influential self-development leaders in this time, Mr. Bob Proctor. Rest in peace. He passed away in February, so I do want to do this little segment as a dedication and also a celebration of his life and also his teachings that still today and will go on for many years. They will continue to touch the hearts and minds of many. Our second topic is Mel's Hole. This is a interesting story about a 80,000 foot deep hole in Washington State that this guy, Mel, happened to stumble upon. Super creepy. He had to use multiple spools of line to drop in there just to figure out how deep it was. And when he surpassed 5,000 feet of line, he had to basically keep going back and buying more to figure out exactly how deep this hole was and what was in there. Super crazy story, but we'll jump into that. But first, Mr. Bob Proctor.
See, I think we live simultaneously on three planes of understanding. We're spiritual creatures, we have an intellect, and we live in physical bodies.
Okay.
But because we lack awareness or understanding of who we are, we're totally locked into a physical world, and we let things outside of us control us. 95% of the population are reacting to life. They're not really living at all.
Okay, and would you call that one of the barriers to success?
Oh, there's no question about it.
Bob Proctor breaks down the inner self and how it controls our reality and who we are, and what he calls a paradigm, which is basically our self-image and how we see ourselves in our story of life. But excellent read on You Were Born Rich. He got most of his teachings from a guy named Ray Stanford, who provided him with a book, Think and Grow Rich. This was basically the start of everything. He was in a hole, he was in debt, almost in an impossible situation where he couldn't catch up. But yet, after he read this book over and over, he did what the man told him to do. And afterwards, he took his life back. He took all of his power back and began to really take advantage of the quantum leap that was in front of him. And because he did so, his life was never the same. As he says in a lot of his videos, once you figure it out, there is no going back. You stay there, which I think is quite magical. So finding the power in oneself, I know probably about like 2015, I was doing billing and coding, billing for medical insurance, working with one of the hospitals, and like working insurance claims. And I remember most people think it's nice to wake up, go to an office job and, do your thing, come home, and then you enjoy what's left of the day. But the more I did that, and I'm glad that I did, the more I realized there is way more to life than just work. And it's how do we get out of that rat race of having to go to work, to pay for things, to enjoy 2 out of the 7 days of the week when the other 5 are spent working. And it's you kind of feel cheated in a way, But I think that's the cool thing about where we are as a society now, because you're seeing a lot of people start their own businesses and they're growing, they're doing well, they're doing very well. You see artists start to no longer be referred to as a starving artist because now they've discovered NFTs and they've modernized their craft to meet societal interest. So I think it's a fun time. People are starting to figure out how to get out of the rat race or the hamster wheel that we're on. Everybody's running it, but there are other options. And I think the thing about this life is to be as creative as possible because it's so short. You might as well do everything that you want to do. But that's just what it boils down to. But yeah, I got a lot of that thinking from Bob Proctor, like I said, Abraham Hicks, Aaron Doughty, and Jake Ducey. More so in that millennial crowd. I don't want to put them in a nutshell because they definitely reach out and touch millions and millions of people in all various age groups, and it's pretty cool that they can do that. They're making people realize who they really are. But good stuff, man. Well, now on to some creepy, spine-chilling type of eerie story of Mel's Hole. This was discovered in 1997 on February 21st. Mr. Mel Waters came across it. He was in Ellensburg of Washington State. Now this hole that he has discovered is attached to so many conspiracy theories and alien type of theories. Nobody really knows what's at the bottom of this hole. But it does carry this supernatural aspect to it because one of the stories was about a dog that somebody threw into the hole, and apparently the dog was dead when it went in, and then the dog showed up with a hunter later and would not come to its original owner. Super creepy. Some locals even labeled it the Devil's Hole because every time they got close to it, they would get this unnerving and unsettling feeling, this type of impending doom. It was something about that hole. But I gotta say, if I was to go close to a hole, even if you just told me it was 80,000 feet deep, of course I'm gonna feel creeped out because I don't want to get close to that. That's a long fall. That's a really long fall. I think the most unsettling part about this story was not only the dog, but the way Mel Waters started testing the hole when he figured out that there was no bottom. Can you imagine going through thousands and thousands and thousands of feet of fishing wire trying to do this project? I feel like the more he failed to reach the bottom, the more concerned and scared he would have been, or at least I would have been. But he started doing more tests once he figured out, hey, there's no bottom to this. This is 15 miles long. he tried to put things down it, such as recording devices, and then when he pulled it back up, he ran the test back, and it come to find out like there was yelling coming out of the hole, and when he yelled in the hole to produce an echo, I guess thinking maybe it could have been that, he heard silence instead. But I'm wondering, maybe because of the way the hole was, because it was so deep, that echo would have been returned, but like way later, maybe. I don't know. I'm just thinking like physics, mechanics wise. I don't know. But yeah, he also tried taking a handheld radio and bringing it near the hole. And when he brought it close to the hole, it played different, but it was decades off. Like it was playing older music, like from old horror movies, like black and white. So it was kind of strange. People would bring their dogs near the hole and they would freak out and like, dig down in the dirt, making sure their owners were going to like pull them towards the hole. They were completely freaked out. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly is inside of this pit. But I guess that's also what makes it so creepy, is who the hell knows. And that, my friends, is probably why we are so addicted to scary stories and mysteries, because our brain likes to play with them and try to figure it out. And sometimes nobody can figure it out because we just don't know, and there's not a good way of finding out some of these things. I remember the story. If you haven't heard it, I'm sorry, spoiler alert. But the story of Elisa Lamb, that was a very unsettling story, mostly because I wasn't sure what she was going through in her head and how she ended up where she did. Because if you watch the video footage, like I said, if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, spoiler alert. But she basically goes to this hotel that wasn't the greatest and almost had two faces to it. So on one side, it was basically for tourists or businessmen and women and just people looking to get away on vacation. On the other side, there were certain rooms where they knew, like the hotel staff was very aware they had people coming in with bad intentions, drug dealers, killers, serial killers, like people doing freaking party drugs, just you name it, it was in there. And poor Elisa Lamb just happened to book a room in this hotel, and I'm pretty sure she was either not in the right room or just really not in the right environment, considering the situation with her mental health. Probably wasn't the best place to be when you're a little bit off. And I think because she was off of her medications, if you look at the video footage, she's in the elevator kind of looking around as if somebody is chasing her or somebody is after her. But she has these strange movements while she's in the elevator. The doors are open and she pushes a bunch of buttons. So I'm assuming the elevator was either taking a long time trying to process which floor to go to, or either because of the series of buttons she pressed, it just made the elevator malfunction in some kind of way. But the doors never closed, they stayed open, and she was just kind of in the elevator shaft, not in the shaft, but she's in the elevator looking out, like making sure somebody or something doesn't come get her. But the way she's looking in the video is so disturbing because she looks so frantic and worried and concerned, and it's just odd. Some people, of course, in the creepypasta forum were saying like she was playing the elevator game, which is a supernatural game where you hit a series of the elevator buttons. It supposedly takes you to a different dimension. Now, whether or not she was playing that game while she was off her medications, I'm not sure. It just seems like it would be strange for that to be the case. But it is strange to watch. It's very disturbing to watch her be in that elevator and just having the actions that she had. Now, there were guests in the hotel that noticed the water. This has been, days after she's went missing. They've noticed the water is now changing colors and it has this strange taste to it. Lo and behold, they go to the hotel management and they finally go and check the problem out. So they have to go to the water tank, which is on the roof. When they open the door, which was latched, they find Elisa Lamb inside the water tank, and she's been in there for a while. Now, how she got the door closed and latched from the outside, we don't know. And that's also another piece that kind of makes it questionable as to whether there was foul play or whether she maybe was actually running from somebody or something. We don't know. But again, that's why mysteries are so, I don't know, they just give me the heebie-jeebies sometimes. Like, crazy killer like Freddy, Jason. Yeah, it's a different kind of thing. Well, I can't say Freddy because the nightmare thing, but like, I don't know. It's just very different when there's a mystery that you cannot piece together. Like you think you have all the pieces, but really we have no idea. Now, Elisa Lamb, we can lean more on the side of there was an issue of mental illness and maybe it was just a case of severe psychosis where, like I said, she may have been seeing something that we couldn't. So that is actually all I have for this little podcast. I look forward to sharing more stories with you guys and more inspiration. As I come across some interesting things, I'll be sure to share those with you. Also, make sure, if you haven't already, to check out monicahealingarts.com. Again, soon to change on January. Hold up. June 6th of this year. That'll be going to the new domain bluefoxcosplay.com. But until then, you can hop on monicahealingarts.com if you would like to purchase merch or any art that will support me in my journeys. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out. I will catch you on the next episode. Love you guys.